Hi, I'm Tim Sales. Myself, along with Professor Charles King, who received his doctorate from the Harvard Business School and is a professor of marketing at the University of Illinois at Chicago, are going to briefly go through a business model for you that works. With this model, I was able to build a business that does in excess of $25 million out of 24 different countries. Now, that's not that rare, but I did it with no employees, no accounts receivable, no accounts payable, and no inventory. Someone recently said to me, "That sounds too good to be true." My response back to him was, "Is that a good enough reason to stop looking?" With all of the false promised advertisements today, like earn $10,000 a week, we hope you'll be able to recognize a professional business model when you see one. While you're reviewing this information, please keep in mind the business knowledge that this information is actually coming from. Professor King is not only the professor of marketing at the university, but he also has a very large consulting practice and has consulted some of the largest corporations in the world. Companies like Blue Cross Blue Shields Association of America, General Electric Corporation, General Motors, National Association of Realtors, Purdue University, Sears Roebuck and Company, Texas Instrument, U.S. Department of Energy, Westinghouse Electric Corporation, and over 100 other large to medium-sized corporations. We highly urge you to sit back for the next 20 minutes and really comprehend this information. Upon completion, you'll be able to interact with your computer and our business model to get the most from it.
Tim and I felt it important to begin the explanation with 4 principles of business that are essential to any successful marketing strategy. The first of the 4 principles is to have a huge, expanding market. If you were the best vinyl record producer in the world, would it matter today? No. It doesn't matter how good you are in an eroding industry. Every year you would have to work harder to make the same amount of money. So the first principle is to focus on product or service categories that are huge and expanding. The second principle is to have unique and consumable products. I'll cover unique first. If you don't have a unique product, then you compete on price and convenience. Who has the best price? Who's closest to the customer? Yet if you have uniqueness, then people must come to you to get the product. If you don't have uniqueness, you must have a retention strategy to retain your customers. Next is consumable. If you have a non-consumable product, you're unemployed until your next sale. Success in business requires repeat sales of consumable products. Whether that's every time someone picks up the telephone, connects to the internet, renews a membership, turns on electricity, or gets to the bottom of a box or a bottle. You want those repeating commissions because they can pay multiple times for an initial effort.
And the third principle is timing. Primarily here I'm talking about trends in timing. During all cycles of the economy, there are people who are making money because of the trends and people who are losing money because of the trends. The money makers are the ones in front of large trends. The money losers are the ones who disregard trends. How do you get in front of large trends? Well, you study what creates them. Currently, the baby boom generation creates the largest trends in the world. The baby boomers are defined as a group of babies born immediately following World War II. So between 1946 and 1964, that's 18 years, there were 76 million babies born in the United States, 1 billion worldwide. They control 65% of all the money. I've likened the magnitude of all those babies being born to a basketball moving through a garden hose. See, if you can predict where this basketball is going through the garden hose, you possess the ability to make fortunes. Let's say it another way. If you can predict what 1 billion people are going to want to buy, you can make a fortune. I want to give you some historical examples of the obvious buying patterns of these boomers. To start off with, what do 1 billion babies need and want? What business would you want to be in? How about baby food? Well, Gerber sold almost 2 billion jars of baby food by the year 1955. What do 1 billion babies need and want next? How about shoes and toys? Well, Buster Brown, Kinney Shoes, Mattel, and Hasbro got rich providing shoes and toys to this young group. I could continue with this, but I think you get the picture. Let's jump way ahead to when the boomers are in their mid-20s to early 30s. If you had 1 billion people in that age group, what business would you want to be in? That was in the mid-70s to early 80s. Well, that was the biggest real estate boom of all time. Why? Because 1 billion people needed a home of their own. Now that you're very clear on how profitable these boomers can be, let me also share with you how damaging these boomers can be. What happened in the late 80s to the real estate boom? Fell through the floor, didn't it? Why? Because the home developers didn't realize that the number of new home buyers were drying up. They just kept building houses. When you have a surplus, demand goes down. And that's what happened in the late 80s. The difference between being at the front of the basketball versus being at the back of the basketball is that when you're at the front of the basketball, you can be an average person and make very good money. But if you're marketing to the back of the basketball, you better be very good at what you do, because only the strong and very talented survive. What's our point? No matter what business you're in, your business really should be looking at what industries are expanding and which industries are about to expand. We recommend that you not have a loyalty to something just because you were educated in it or because you've been doing it for a long period of time. So let's bring the basketball to present time, the mid-2000s. You've got 1 billion people between the age of 41 and 59. Let me put it another way. Every 8 seconds for the next 18 years, someone turns 60 years old. What business do you want to be in? Don't go after the 41-year-olds. That's the back of the basketball. Go after the 59-year-olds. That way you've got a full 18 years of new people needing your product. Let's look at some of the obvious current and future trends. Health and looking younger are going to be tremendous trends. The boomers do not like what aging is doing to them, so products that fend off aging as well as vanity issues will boom. Businesses that focus on retirement issues will do very well. The crux of it will start with the boomers having enough money to retire. Legal matters such as wills and estate planning will become a very large trend. This trend will climb extremely fast because of the way boomers procrastinate. When the boomers start seeing their wealth fall into the hands of the state instead of where they want it to go, it'll kick this trend into the forefront if it hasn't already. Efficiencies will also grow. The television was too far away from the couch for the boomers, so they invented the remote control device. Today, they have their entire library of books and music in their cell phones. The boomers have always been enamored with technologies that make life easier. These technologies will actually create entire industries. The computer created the need for the antivirus software, and the internet has created a need for identity theft protection and firewalls. As a side note, the baby boomers are not the only trendsetters. They are just the largest and have most of the money. As the world becomes one, the international market will play a big role, as well as the group born just after the baby boomers that are known as Generation X. But remember, the boomers control 65% of all the money. So when a bright Gen X person creates a great new product or service, they must make it simple enough that a baby boomer can understand it. Otherwise, that product will not reach mass acceptance. All right, let's move forward. The fourth principle of business is employ others so you get more done. There's really 3 main money-earning situations out there today. Number 1, work for someone else, meaning someone employs you to do a job for them. Number 2, be a professional, doctor, attorney, accountant, engineer of some kind. In both number 1 and 2, you go out and you get an education in something and you exchange your expertise or knowledge for someone's money. The real problem with that formula is that if you are not exchanging any expertise, you're not making any money. So you end up running yourself into the ground working all the time. The most common phrase uttered by mankind today is, "I'm too busy. I don't have enough time." So you'll run yourself to death until one day you do the mathematical calculation and you figure out that you're not going to get ahead doing what you're doing. Normally, people either hide behind the TV and pretend the problem will go away, or they start getting educated on what actually creates wealth. And the third and final money-earning situation is to own your own business. But the largest challenge with owning your own business is that sooner or later you're going to run out of time or talent. When you try to do it all yourself, you can't. You absolutely must employ others so you can get more done. By employing others, you're leveraging off the efforts of other people. You can get more education in your chosen profession and raise your wage a little bit. But true wealth is beyond anyone's reach without the use of leverage through employing others. Let me simplify this. Wealth is created by either people at work or money at work. For example, $5 million earning 10% interest yields approximately $500,000 a year, or about $40,000 per month in residual income. You're leveraging off of your money. Your money is working for you. That's having money at work, which is the goal. But how does one get the money to put to work? By having people at work. Suppose you own a company and you employ just one person, me. I work for 8 hours on Monday, and you work for the same 8 hours on that Monday that I do. Now pay close attention. You get paid on 16 hours worth of work because you take a portion of my productivity as income for yourself. You're leveraging off of my efforts because I'm your employee. So theoretically, the more employees you have working for you, the more leverage you have. That's people at work. However, have you ever had employees? If you have, you know that in theory hiring employees sounds like a great way to achieve leverage, but it's very difficult to reach leverage through employees. And the reason being is simple. No employee will ever work as hard for your company as you will because they don't own it. For you to have true leverage, you must create a situation where everyone has the same amount to gain. Then, and only then, will you have true leverage. Let me give you an example of this type of leverage, which is what the real estate and insurance industry use. Let's say that I'm a real estate broker, and I hire an agent named Robert. Robert sells a building. Robert earns a percentage of the selling price of that building, and so do I, the broker. Now, why do I, the broker, earn a percentage when it was actually Robert who sold the building? Because I, the broker, did some of the advertising, trained Robert, who is my agent. It's my office. I put up the risks. I did a lot of things. And so it's valid that I, as the broker, earn my money. But Robert doesn't work for me as an employee. He's an agent who works for himself. It's totally in the agent's interest to earn more money. This is a very important differentiation from an employee. If the broker wants to make more money, he or she simply needs to hire and train more agents. My point is that the broker and the agent have the same amount to gain from the sale of the home, which is a form of leverage for the broker. The broker has people at work, but not in the form of an employee. Agents are far better than employees, but there's still a problem with this structure. You may have already picked up on this problem with this structure. The broker can have multiple agents, but the agents cannot. The broker has leverage, the agents don't, which creates a conflict until the agents do what most brokers dread. What happens when I, the broker, have been real effective at teaching Robert to be a good agent? What's Robert going to want to do in a couple of years? Cut away and be his own broker, right? Is this good for me, the broker? No, because as soon as he becomes a broker, two bad things happen to me, the broker. One is he breaks away from me and I lose him as an income source. And two, worse than number one, he's now my competitor. Who trained this new competitor? I did. He actually knows how I run my operation, meaning he knows all my good stuff. By the way, this doesn't just happen in the real estate industry. It happens in practically every industry. Have you ever heard the expression, I'm just going to work there for experience? What does that mean? It means I'm going to strip them of their knowledge and then go do it myself. If you're a business owner, how many people have you trained who are no longer working for you? How many people have you trained to be your competitors? This gets worse. Let's say that Robert is now a broker right down the street. What will he do now that he's a broker? He'll go out and hire his own agents, right? And let's say one of those agents is named Linda. Linda also wants to be a broker. So she becomes a competitor to me that I indirectly trained, as well as Robert, who I directly trained. And this continues on and on. I, the broker, actually created this chain of competitors that I trained. Is this an intelligent way to expand business? Absolutely not. What if we did something entirely different? Let's say instead, I, the broker, am going to empower Robert to become a broker. I want him to become a broker from day one. Trying to hold Robert back or not showing Robert all of my best marketing methods is the wrong action. The only way you or I ever retain a true leader is to provide him or her with the same opportunity for growth that we have. Which is why I earlier stated that the only way to have true leverage is when you create a structure where everyone has the same amount to gain. So from day one, I'm going to encourage Robert to be a broker. And when he does, he doesn't break away from me and become my competitor. Robert simply shifts from agent to broker, which now allows Robert to hire his own agents, just as I have done. I'm going to continue earning a percentage of what Robert and his agents sell. And shouldn't I? I trained him. I put up the risk. It's my office. All those reasons I mentioned earlier. Now, the percentage I earn from Robert and his agent should be smaller than when he was an agent. But I should still earn a percentage. Why would I or you work with Robert's agents? Because it's in our financial interest. The more money that Robert's agents make, the more money we make. The more money Robert makes, the more money we make. That's our continued incentive to always help Robert and his agents. It's a win-win for all parties involved. Now, some people look at this and say, gosh, isn't that one of those pyramids? And what's the perception of a pyramid? People at the top make all the money and the people down below do all the work, right? Isn't that the perception of a pyramid? Professor King, explain why this is not a pyramid and why people at the top don't necessarily make all the money.
Let me make a quick point before I discuss the pyramid issue. It is not the geometric shape that people have a problem with. This geometric shape is probably the shape of your family tree. It's the shape of our government. To the architect, it's the strongest structure known to man. Every organizational structure in the world is this shape. So the shape isn't the problem. However, let me point something out about the perception people at the top earn all the money. Here's a typical corporation. At the top, you have a CEO, which stands for Chief Executive Officer. Does the president earn more money than the CEO in the typical corporation? Not normally. How about the president? Do any of the vice presidents earn more money than the president? No. What would happen if some of the vice presidents made more money than the president? Really, what would happen? Total confusion. This structure is called delegation. The reason why the president can tell the vice president what to do is because the president makes more money. Each level of the corporate structure earns less income. That's called a chain of command. The corporate structure is this. People at the top making the majority of the money, and the people at the bottom do not. There's not any one of the lower ranks of Kodak that gets a $25 million pay raise in a year. In fact, no employee even submits a resume requesting it. But the CEO can because he has people at work. The CEO of every corporation is leveraging off the productivity of all of the employees that work for the corporation. The unfairness is the CEO is the only one with leverage. In the model that we suggest as being more intelligent, you, the individual, are given the same opportunity to have leverage just as every CEO does. The structure that we found that allows this is sometimes referred to as network marketing. Remember when Tim said earlier that to reach true leverage, you must create a situation where everyone has the same amount to gain? Well, that's what we just described. Tim's going to show you what makes the network marketing structure the absolute fairest structure available.
In most network marketing companies, everyone can earn a certain number of levels deep in the organization they build. Everyone in the company can earn that same number of levels deep, like maybe 4 levels deep or 6 levels deep. There may be parts of a company's compensation plan that allow you to earn infinitely deep, but the majority of the compensation is normally limited to a certain number of levels. I'm going to use 4 levels for a quick example of why this is a more fair structure. If you build a larger or more productive organization than me, you would earn more money than me, even if you're in my organization. In the example shown, your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels are beyond my reach. And as you can see, the majority of your volume would be on the 4th level. Almost as much volume as on the 2nd and 3rd levels combined. There are people in my organization right now that earn more money than I do. Do you know what I call that? Fair. Shouldn't it be that way? Study any structure. Shouldn't the most productive person in that structure make the most money? Of course. Normally the measuring stick for compensation is an impressive resume or years of seniority. Well, what does an impressive resume or years of seniority have to do with productivity? Nothing. If you bring more profits to a company or organization, then you deserve more profits than anyone, right? Professor King, how did you become involved with teaching network marketing at the University of Illinois?
In 1990, we had a major economic recession in the United States. The Midwest and Chicago particularly were very badly hit. As a result, the interviewers stopped coming to campus. We were graduating hundreds of students a semester, and they weren't getting jobs. Our alumni were coming back to us, losing their jobs, looking for help. We had nothing to offer. Now, I started looking, because of my background in business consulting, at alternative career paths. I went out and I looked at starting your own business and home-based businesses. I looked at franchising. I looked at direct selling. And in the direct selling arena, I backed into network marketing. Now, I was very cynical, skeptical. Tim, I was negative about network marketing. They don't teach network marketing at the Harvard Business School, and I didn't know much about it. The end result was that one of my students who was on the team asked me, "Why are you so negative about network marketing?" I looked at that young man and I said, "Son, I know enough to know I don't want to know any more." That student looked at me and he said, "Professor, if I gave you that answer to that question with no more information than you have, you would give me an F." I turned to him and said, "Son, you're absolutely right. I have no basis for that conclusion. You just made an A." As a result, we went to the library, we went to meetings, and for the next 6 months, we did due diligence on the network marketing industry. I visited the top companies, I talked to network marketing leaders, I became an evangelist. In 1990-91, we started teaching network marketing in the marketing curriculum at the university.
Warren Buffett recently bought a network marketing company. If you don't know who he is, he's tied with Bill Gates as the richest man in America. He created his wealth by investing in and buying the very best companies. Why would he buy a network marketing company? Another question to ask yourself is, why would Microsoft or AT&T, Gillette, Colgate, Citibank, MCI, IBM, Toyota, Xerox, Texas Instrument, General Motors, General Electric, AOL, Netscape, Oracle, Sun Microsystems, SkyTel, Coca-Cola, and many others distribute some or all of their products and services through network marketing? They use this method to distribute products because network marketing is a very efficient model to distribute products and services. These large corporations are firm testimony to the industry's success and credibility. The majority of these corporations have started working with network marketing companies just in the past few years. This confirms what Professor King was saying about the industry has come of age and is now a true profession. Think about why it's a good business decision for these corporations to distribute their products through network marketing. Consider the steps it would take a company like AT&T to get a cell phone into the market. Number one is advertising. TV, newspapers, magazines, banner ads, billboards, mailings. How much money have they spent on these advertisements? Millions before one phone is sold. Number two is a call center. They need to hire and train a call center to field all the calls from their advertisements. How much money does that cost them? How many phones have they sold? None. The third one is sales reps. They need to hire and train the sales reps to connect the phone with the person. How much money does it take to hire and train that sales force? Salaries plus commission? A lot. How many phones have sold? None yet. Contrast this with AT&T, who joint ventures with a network marketing company, and all the network marketing company needs to do is send an email to all their brokers and agents or send a phone message, and immediately 50, 75, 100,000 brokers and agents buy the phone. Then all these brokers start training the agents on how to market the phone. With the network marketing channel, when does AT&T spend money? Only when a phone is sold. That's why so many companies have been joint venturing with network marketing companies, and why this trend is just beginning. We'd like to cover one last thing in closing, which we feel is one of the most important points. Have you ever noticed that there are people who earn $10,000 a year, and there are also people in that same year who earn $10 million a year? They both earn their income using 24 hours a day, right? What does person 1 not know that person 2 does know? You need to understand the difference. If there's any place that I see people absolutely blow their chance of ever creating wealth, it's in their understanding or failure to understand the time productivity connection. I hear people all the time complaining that they're too busy and don't have enough time. People act as though time owns them instead of them owning time. This phrase I'm going to share with you is what I believe is the number one reason people never reach their financial dreams. It's easier to just do it myself than to try to get others to do it. Or it's quicker to do it myself than try to get others to do it. The reason people are so busy and don't have enough time is that they lack an understanding of what a powerful investment it is to train others so you get more done. People fail at executing this because normally it's not rewarding to train others your expertise because they'll take it and profit without you. But in network marketing, you're rewarded exponentially for your willingness to train others effectively. When you fully understand the power of educating and empowering others so that you can get more done, you're truly on your way to wealth. Please memorize this quote. Wealth is hidden from those who must do it all themselves. Wealth exposes itself to those patient enough to train others. Suppose you have a 4-year-old son. His shoestrings are untied. You've got a choice. You can tie the shoes for him. It'll be done quicker. Or you can teach him how. Yes, he'll ignore you. Have him hold one of the strings while you tie around it. Keep doing that for 2 to 3 weeks, and he'll be trying to get the other string out of your hand. When he finally does it himself, his knot won't hold. Keep teaching. Soon, you will have built a little guy with pride, and you've leveraged yourself so that you can get more done. What's most important here is that you understand that this is your teaching lesson. He'll learn to tie his shoe when you learn to teach him. I'm sure you've heard this statement by Lao Tzu. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. That's a great statement. But if I can be so bold, I'd like to add something to Lao Tzu's statement. Teach a man to teach his children to fish, he'll end world hunger. See, that is the missing element in our society today. We have teachers so that we learn, but we don't learn so we can teach others. Network marketing is the most ethical business I've ever seen. It actually builds people when done correctly. My point in all of this is you've leveraged yourself. Shoestrings are still getting tied, but not by you. That's because you invested your time by training others versus expending your time by doing things the quicker way or the easier way. That's what the wealthy know and implement. Now, with that understanding, you can see why we refer to network marketing as brilliant compensation. In network marketing, what you teach and train others to do is to duplicate what you do, which is to find and train others. This is actually multiplying you, not just duplicating you. When you do network marketing right, there's nothing like it. Let me show you why. Let's suppose you're a workaholic. What's the maximum number of hours you could work in a day? 24 hours, right? What if you didn't sleep for a whole year? If you were to work a whole year without any sleep, it would equal 8,760 hours. But that's the maximum number of hours you could work in a year. Don't you agree? I have about 56,000 brokers and agents in my organization worldwide. Let's suppose that all 56,000 people work just 1 hour out of a year. 56,000 people times 1 hour each equals 56,000 hours of work that I'm being paid on. Well, for most people to earn on 56,000 hours of work, they would have to work for over 6 years, 24 hours a day without sleep, to accomplish what I could accomplish working 1 single hour in a whole year. Now let me throw something really ridiculous at you. Suppose all my 56,000 people worked 1 8-hour day in a year. Notice I didn't say work 8 hours a day for a year. I said work 1 8-hour day in a year. 56,000 people times 8 hours is 448,000 hours I'm being paid on. It would take most people working over 51 years, 24 hours a day to do what I could do in 8 hours a year. 8 hours in 1 year versus 51 years. Doesn't seem fair, does it? It's definitely not fair. What's not fair is that you haven't understood this until today and other people have. But now that you understand it, take advantage of it. The difference between the wealthy and everyone else is not a mystery. It's leverage. You've got to understand that. And as I stated earlier, you have to either have money at work or people at work. And there is not a more win-win, affordable structure available than network marketing. Is network marketing perfect? Of course not. Nothing is. Every industry has its good and bad. Network marketing just has more good than any other industry for the most number of people. Will it require you to work hard? Absolutely. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Because it's an investment of your time, not a waste of time like being employed by someone else is. In summary, wealth is created by finding a product or service that a lot of people want and need. Make sure you get repeat business off of it. Choose it by looking at the trends. Employ others so you get more done. Make sure that the way that you employ others doesn't cannibalize your company by training your best competition. And make sure you're offering the same opportunity for growth that you have to all those you employ. The next chalkboard you'll see has frequently asked questions that you can interact with on your computer. Professor King and I sincerely appreciate the time you've devoted to this explanation, and we hope it's been educational for you. Who sells the product? Here's where the greatest misunderstandings occur in network marketing, which is understandable because it is the toughest to understand. However, if explained and understood correctly, the lights come on and the big picture becomes vividly clear. Here are the common questions that indicate confusion about who sells the products. How does this little group of products or this service turn into big money? Or aren't people selling people instead of products? Or would I be going door to door? Or who sells the product? I know of 2 network marketing companies that have reached $1 billion in product sales inside of 10 years. Very few companies of any kind ever do that. So there are definitely products moving to the end consumer. The companies I mentioned earlier in the presentation, Microsoft, AT&T, Gillette, Colgate, Citibank, MCI, IBM, Toyota, Xerox, Texas Instruments, General Motors, General Electric, AOL, Netscape, Oracle, Sun Microsystems, SkyTel, Coca-Cola, and many others distribute some or all of their products and services through network marketing. Obviously, they figured out how powerful this distribution channel is. What does all this have to do with who sells the products? Everything. The industry would not be attracting these corporations and creating such fast-growing companies if it were selling people instead of products. Let's get into the specifics of how this works. The way I'm going to explain who sells the product is in the form of gears that drive sales volume. There are 3 of them. The first gear that drives sales volume in network marketing is exploratory, or what I call research volume. Let's suppose that you like what you've seen so far and the business makes sense to you. Your obvious next step is to purchase some products or use the service, right? You wouldn't promote a business if you didn't understand the products and believe in them, which is the movement of some sales volume. As soon as you purchase some products, that's some volume that just got sold. Let me give you an example of how this volume can add up. A while back, I had my company's computer generate a list of the number of new people coming into my organization for that 1 month. I had over 2,400 new people come into my business worldwide in that 1 month. Just put pen to paper and multiply 2,400 by any volume, $50, $100, $300, to see the magnitude of what I'm talking about. Now, if just a few of those new people that came into my business came in researching products, that's a lot of sales volume, and it's only people researching the business. We still have 2 more gears to go. Isn't the best person to market a product someone in love with the product? Sure. That's why a person must begin their business venture trying and loving products. This drives the second gear, which is wholesale consumption. When people try products or services, and they like them, either they like the product or they like the price of the product, they want to continue using them. Look at the way wholesale buying clubs work, like Sam's or Costco's. There you pay $40, $50, $60 and get their products at wholesale. Now think about what kind of volume wholesale consumption is. It's loyal consumer volume. That's people loving products or people loving the price of products. That kind of volume is solid. It's as solid as sales volume can get. There are about 56,000 people in my organization worldwide. Just for illustration purposes only, let's say they average maybe $5, $20, $100 a month. Any number times 56,000 is a lot of consumption volume. Another thought on this, examine the geographic diversification. The volume my organization does each month is spread between 24 different countries. Far better to be drawing your income out of multiple areas than being limited to one, such as franchising or owning your own local business, like an accountant, a plumber, a beautician. This wholesale consumption, love for the product, drives the third gear. The third gear is retail, which I'm not going to go into detail on because it's how the majority of products get distributed. Buy low and sell high. Wholesale to retail markup. Well, network marketing has that gear, but it's only one of the volume gears. That's why it may appear network marketers are focused on getting new people instead of selling the product. But in reality, it's the understanding of those three gears that cause the focus to be on getting new distributors versus customers. A new distributor equals three gears turning. And by contrast, retailing turns only one gear. My main point in this, retail sales are extremely important, but it's only one of the three gears that move volume. If you study what I just showed you, you'll realize you're not just earning on one kind of volume, like retail markup. You can be earning on all three volumes with everyone in your organization. Now that I understand this, I could never go back to any other form of distribution. It's all so inefficient compared to this. Do you need sales experience? No. You already have plenty. Let me explain. Who is the best person to market a product or a service? I have found no one in 9 years to disagree with this answer. A satisfied customer is the best person to market a product or a service. This is by word-of-mouth advertising, not sales. Think about this. You and 5 friends sit down in a restaurant. Before the waiter comes and asks for your drink order, what are all 5 of you talking about? I literally took a picture of 5 of my friends sitting in a restaurant to help me illustrate my point. These were actually the conversations that were going on. This person over here, Ed, is telling everyone about the movie he just saw. And what does he say about the movie? Oh my gosh, you've got to see this movie, if for nothing else, just for the special effects. At the same time, David says to Sharon, "You look great. How much weight have you lost?" Sharon says, "About 14 pounds. It's this new diet program that I'm on. It makes so much sense." David asks Sharon, "Well, what's the name of that program?" While this conversation is going on, Gina gets a call on her cell phone and opens up this tiny little phone and talks. When she hangs up, Ed says, "That's a tiny phone. Let me see that." Gina says, "Yeah, it didn't cost me a thing. It came with a program that I bought. I know a guy at AirTouch Cellular who gave me a great deal." And Ed says, "I'll have to get that guy's name and number." What are all these people doing? Selling. They're selling each other. Yet if you ask each one of them if they're a salesperson, they'll tell you no. Yet the movie industry, the cellular phone industry, the diet industry just got paid because they sold something. That was free advertising for all those industries. Doesn't it make sense to be compensated for what you recommend? You're doing it anyway. None of these people in the picture have sales training, yet that's what they do all day long. The reason this by word-of-mouth advertising is better than any other form of advertising, whether direct mail, television, or radio, is because it's based on relationships. And relationships have what advertising will never have, and that's trust. No other form of marketing even comes close to that kind of power. But if you have the question whether or not you need sales experience or not, don't let anyone fool you. Everyone is in sales. You sell your spouse on marrying you. You sell your kids on doing their homework. You sell your employer to keep you around. You sell your dog to sit. Selling is simply a communication of ideas. And if you don't think you're good at it, you should get good at it. I've learned that communication is something that you learn, not something you're born with. Yet it makes or breaks you in life. The only way around it is to hire or sponsor someone who has the communication skills you don't. As stated earlier, I built an organization of over 56,000 brokers and agents who do over $25 million in business. I have no sales experience. I hope you really understand the significance of what I just said. Some of those 56,000 brokers and agents have sales experience. Some do not. The significance is that even though I don't have a sales history, I'm able to be leveraged by those that do and those that don't have sales experience. Kind of like sports. Who is one of the all-time highest paid sports personalities in the world? Jerry Reinsdorf. Who's that? You probably thought it would be Michael Jordan. No, this guy Jerry was Michael's owner. See, you don't have to be the superstar. Just do whatever it takes to find and acquire the superstars, or find the person who finds the superstars. I answered an ad that ran in the Washington Post. If you had ran that ad, I would have built my organization within your organization.
Perhaps we've created the question in your mind, if a network marketing company pays a commission to all these people, 4 levels deep or 6 levels deep, then doesn't that just drive up the cost of the products? Well, of course it does. But does that mean the products cost more to the consumer? Not necessarily. Oftentimes, they're actually less expensive than traditional products, because although network marketing may add a cost to pay those multiple levels of people, they're reducing costs by cutting out some of the traditional distribution costs. I'll explain how in just a second. Not that you should always desire a less expensive product. Sometimes you get a better value with a more expensive product. Anytime one looks at the price of a product before they look at the value of a product, they're looking in the wrong sequence. Let's explain the reorganization of distribution. We'll start with the traditional method of distribution. Soda's a good example to use. How much do you think a soda costs? The raw materials at the manufacturer cost about 6 cents US for the soda in the can. They need a profit margin. It then goes to the national distributor who marks it up. Then the regional distributor who marks it up. The local wholesaler marks it up. Then the advertising budget gets kicked in. Somebody says, baby, which marks it up. Then the retailer, like a restaurant, marks it up and sells it for $2 US. So from 6 cents to $2, there's a $1.94 US markup on the soda. For this example, I'm going to divide this $1.94 evenly between all 6 channels that marked it up. That's not to imply that the markup on all products is the same for each channel. It's not. I just want to help you understand how many different channels mark up products. So 194 divided by 6 different channels equal 32 cents going to each channel. So let's suppose that each one of the 6 channels receives 32 cents. As you can see, in traditional marketing, approximately 85% of the cost of a product is the distribution cost, getting it up to the consumers. And 15% of the cost is the manufacturing or making the product. Up until recently, everyone had been cutting on the manufacturing cost, which obviously can reduce the quality of the product. What network marketing does is cut the distribution cost. Let's look at network marketing. The manufacturer keeps their same 32 cents. Next is a national distributor, which is the network marketing company, who also keeps 32 cents. So the network marketing company has 4 channels of spending to redirect. For this example, let's say they take one of those channels and allocate that 32 cents to the manufacturer to make a better product. That's why many times the product quality is so much higher with network marketing products. Then let's say they redirect another channel to create a research and development division in their company to find and create more products. Now comes the part you're most interested in. The network marketing company needs a way to distribute their products. So they find a distributor. Let's call her distributor A. The network marketing company says to distributor A, we'd like you to distribute our soda, and the incentive we'll give you is the retail profit that the restaurant used to enjoy, which gives distributor A the opportunity to buy it wholesale and sell it retail. This by itself is called direct sales. Now the network marketing company needs more distributors. They can either go find more distributors themselves or give an incentive to distributor A to find other distributors. Who would be the best person to find more distributors? A distributor of the products or the company? The distributors. They're the ones in the trenches, they're the ones with the satisfied customers, and they're the ones with the referrals. And that's just from them marketing the product. There's another way that distributors get attracted to a network marketing company. Let's say you're distributor A, and you drive up to your brother's house with a brand new car, and your brother says, "Wow, how did you get that?" You say, "Well, I'm a distributor with this company, and I'm making a lot of money." So your brother becomes interested because of the financials. So it's logical a distributor is better at finding distributors than the company could be. Contrast this with a company like Procter & Gamble. Who distributes Procter & Gamble products? A lot of companies, right? Supermarkets, convenience stores, drugstores. Who found all those distributors for Procter & Gamble? Procter & Gamble sales reps that Procter & Gamble hired and trained. So instead of the network marketing company hiring sales reps to find distributors for their products, the network marketing company creates an incentive for the distributor to find other distributors. So the network marketing company says to distributor A, "We'll pay you what we would have paid in advertising and what we would have paid to hire and train sales reps, plus we'll give you ongoing commissions from the products that are ordered by the customers and distributors you connect to the company. We'll take that money and give it to you as an incentive to find and train more distributors for our products." So, in my example, we've removed two of the traditional channels out of the distribution chain. We created an opportunity for the individual like you and me to earn income from marketing a product, build a team of distributors, put more money into the soda at the manufacturer, yet kept the price of the soda the same.
Concerned about marketing to friends? Someone once said to me, "I feel uncomfortable making money off my friends and family." If you have that concern, who do you feel comfortable making money off of? Probably a stranger. So how do you justify earning money off of a stranger? Your justification would probably be, "I'm providing a good service or a good product at a fair price." So why wouldn't you offer that to a family member? Put yourself in your family member's spot. Do you think that your friends or family would rather compensate a stranger for the same product or service that you have? Wouldn't you rather compensate your family member than a stranger? My sister is in the printing business, and I say to her, "Cindy, if you can match quality and price, I'd rather give you this business than a stranger." That only makes sense. One other small point, when have you ever done business with an enemy? If you're not doing business with friends and family, who do you do business with? Do you have to get in at the beginning? Yes? No? I don't know. When was the best time to get involved with Microsoft? When was the best time to get involved with Kodak? Of course at the beginning. Ever consider how many corporations registered with the state of Washington each day? But how many have become the size of Microsoft? There are pros and cons in both. The new company versus the proven company. If you want to witness total confusion in this area, watch the business news when the writers, the guest speakers, the expert analysts try to predict the future value in the large proven companies versus the new companies. It's hilarious. Most of the experts are just plain wrong. Here's another confusion. Has Microsoft peaked? Or will 20 years from now it be a $30 trillion company because every person on planet Earth will be using Microsoft's operating system? Beats me. I do not have an answer for this one. Neither does anyone else. Some people are better educated at what to look for in a company's history, but history is one perspective. I've also seen where the vision of one individual in the dumpiest company creates a complete transformation in a year. That individual with a vision could be you. Listen to your instincts. They're as good as anyone's.
Looking for something more secure or a steady paycheck? A colleague of mine was showing his wife this business, and she said, "Get a real job." He showed her Time magazine where it stated that in that 1 year, 7 companies laid off 165,000 people. At that point, he asked her, "Which company is it you would like me to send a resume to?" He went on to explain That 165,000 number represents all the people that are competing for the same job I am, answering the same ads, for the same position. Corporate jobs are only lasting 3 to 6 years at best. So why waste another minute doing something that isn't going to build long-term financial security?
Dr. King, I went for the secure job. I was with the U.S. military for 11 years. Then one day I realized that the focus of all the men was to retire. The retirement pay was 50% of the base pay. Well, I could just barely live on 100% of the base pay. What made me think that 50% was a good idea? I wanted to live life to the fullest, not just exist.
Don't kid yourself by thinking you have security in corporate America.
Know someone who failed at network marketing? I recognize you may have seen this industry before. Maybe you've even attempted it. Or you know people who have tried it and succeeded or didn't succeed. I remember a guy when I first came into the business saying to me, I know someone who tried one of those and didn't succeed. He acted as though his statement should sway me. Of course people fail at it. People fail at everything. People failed at my high school. The absolute worst thing you could do in your life is compare yourself to people who fail. Because you don't know how they approach the business. Did they come in and do it as a profession? Or did they come in and do it as a hobby? My point is, you cannot objectively look at someone's success or lack of success as a determining factor of what you'll achieve. This business is just like everything in life. It is what you make of it. You can learn to be good at this. I know. Family, friend, or spouse discouraging you? Worried about what your friends and family will think? I need to be very direct with you concerning this issue. If you're the kind of person who needs everyone's approval before you can do something, you'll probably never get it. How many truly wealthy people do you think got wealthy with everyone cheering them on? Better yet, anyone cheering them on? None. In Napoleon Hill's classic book, Think and Grow Rich, his research revealed that fear of what others would think was one of the top reasons people didn't achieve financial success. In my own research, I've found that if you were to actually make a list of the people's opinions you're worried about, it's normally less than 5 people. Could anyone really allow 5 people to stop them from pursuing what they want for the rest of their life? Would any of your friends truly want that kind of responsibility for stopping you from pursuing your dreams concerning anything? You are you. I know that seems trite, but please understand how unique you are. You've got your own visions, dreams, goals. Don't let anyone take them from you. Plus, it's normally not even true friends that discourage us, because if they were true friends, you wouldn't fear what they'd say or think. Surely, a true friend would never discourage you from anything that only encourage you. Believe me, I had my share of people who wanted to protect me. But I knew none of those protectors were going to pay for my child's education, my retirement, and the things that I wanted in life. I hope you can tell that I'm not just talking about this industry. Don't let anyone or anything stop you from going after your goals. You are welcome to say no to this industry, but don't say no to anything because of fear of what others will think. Can you do this and be successful? I don't know you, but I think you can. How did you get good doing what you do now? You just kept doing it until you got good at it. If when you get started with this, you find something that you don't feel you're good at, change it. Find books on the subject. Find college courses. It's a lot easier to learn a skill than it is to run from that skill and try to find an industry or a job that you don't need the skill in. Face what you're not good at and change it. Confront it and beat it. When I first got started, I was a Navy underwater bomb squad technician and had 0 communication skills. I was not good at this business. I can't see how any of my friends survived my approach. It was awful. I did the business part-time for about 1.5 years. I had a lot to learn. But I already knew, either you have excuses or you have results. You can't have both. I just decided to focus on how to get good in the areas I needed to be good in, instead of focusing on how it didn't work. I'm going to be blunt, if I haven't already. You're right now spending valuable time getting good at something. Shouldn't it pay you a huge income and give you total time freedom? You're wasting your talent by selling yourself short and working for somebody else's dream. I looked at this industry and said, sure, it's hard. Everything's hard. But I feel it's actually harder to not have what you want all your life than it is to just get the hard out of the way.